Oh, I wish you could feel it, my friend. I wish you could see what I see. There is something happening in the spirit, something so marvelous, so miraculous, that if you could only grasp it, your soul would leap with joy. You are standing on the edge of a divine shift, a moment where heaven is aligning with earth, and you, yes, you, are about to witness something far greater than you have ever imagined. But oh, how the enemy wants to keep you blind, how he wants to keep you discouraged, keep you doubting, keep you questioning whether God has forgotten you. But I have come to tell you today, when God is about to do something big in your life, he will show you the signs, he will whisper to your spirit, he will shake the very foundations around you, and if you have eyes to see, you will know. He is moving, and that is why you must listen. Why you must open your heart today, because I am going to show you the signs that will let you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that your breakthrough, your miracle, your divine appointment, it is at the door. There are moments in life when everything around you feels unsettled, when you can't quite put your finger on it, but something deep within you is stirring. It is as if your soul is restless, yearning for something more, sensing something bigger just beyond your grasp. It is a divine restlessness, a holy discomfort that cannot be ignored. When God is about to give you something big, when he is preparing to shift your life into a greater dimension, he will often begin with this stirring in your spirit. It is not anxiety, it is not fear, it is the Holy Spirit awakening you, calling you to attention, making you aware that change is on the horizon. At first, you may not even recognize what is happening. You may go about your day feeling an unshakable sense that something is different. Yet everything around you appears the same. You may feel dissatisfied with things that once brought you joy, or you may find yourself longing for something more, something deeper, without fully understanding what it is. This is not a sign that you are lost or confused. On the contrary, it is a sign that God is getting ready to elevate you. Before he brings you into a new season, he must first awaken you to the fact that the old season is ending. This divine restlessness is often misunderstood. Some may mistake it for frustration, thinking they are simply growing tired of their current circumstances. Others may try to suppress it, forcing themselves to be content where they are, even though their spirit is crying out for something greater. But when God is behind this stirring, you cannot ignore it. You can try to push it away, distract yourself with routine, or convince yourself that nothing is changing, but the feeling will persist. That is because it is not coming from you, it is coming from heaven. The Bible is full of examples of those who experience this divine restlessness just before a major shift in their lives. Think of Abraham. He was living comfortably in his homeland, surrounded by family and all that was familiar. And yet, one day God spoke to him. "Leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you." Genesis 12:01. Imagine the stirring in Abraham's spirit when he heard those words. He had no idea where he was going, no clear picture of what lay ahead, only a deep, undeniable knowing that God was calling him to something greater. That is the kind of restlessness that precedes a divine breakthrough. Look at Moses. He grew up in Pharaoh's palace, raised with privilege, educated in the ways of the Egyptians. But there came a time when he could no longer ignore the stirring in his soul, the growing discomfort with the oppression of his people. It wasn't just a passing thought. It was an urgency that would not leave him alone. That restlessness led him away from Egypt, into the wilderness, where God would later speak to him through the burning bush, revealing his true calling. And what about David? Anointed as king while still a shepherd boy, he must have felt the weight of that promise stirring within him long before he ever sat on the throne. There were years of running, of hiding in caves, of waiting, yet all the while there was something in his spirit that told him he was destined for more. That divine restlessness sustained him even in the darkest moments because he knew God's promise was still unfolding. You may be in that place right now. You may feel like the walls are closing in, like you no longer fit where you are, like something deep inside of you is shifting. And let me tell you, that is not something to be afraid of. It is something to rejoice over. Because when God begins to stir your spirit in this way, it means he is preparing you for something greater than you can even imagine. But here is the key. You must not resist it. You must not allow fear to hold you back or convince yourself that you are simply being impatient. That restlessness is a sign that God is calling you higher, and the worst thing you could do is ignore it. Instead, lean into it. Seek him in prayer. Ask him what he is doing, and be open to whatever he reveals. Sometimes this restlessness will push you to step out in faith before you have all the answers. God may not give you the full picture right away. He may only give you the next step. But if you trust Him, if you follow that stirring in your spirit, He will lead you exactly where you are meant to be. And here's the beautiful part. That divine restlessness is not just about you. It is about what God is preparing to do through you. The shift that is coming is not only for your benefit, it is for the impact you will have on others, for the lives you will touch, for the purpose you will fulfill. This is why you cannot afford to stay where you are, to settle for less than what God has planned. The restlessness is a call to movement, a sign that your season is changing, and if you embrace it, you will step into something far greater than you ever imagined. So I ask you today, what is your spirit saying? Do you feel the stirring? Can you sense the shift? If so, do not be afraid. Do not resist it. Instead, get ready. Because when God is about to give you something big, He will first wake up your spirit. And when He does, it means your breakthrough is closer than you think. There comes a time in every believer's life when doors begin to close, often unexpectedly, and it feels as if everything is working against you. Opportunities that once seemed promising suddenly slip away. Plans you thought were certain begin to fall apart. The relationships you depended on may fade. The career path you were so sure about may take an unexpected detour, and the stability you once enjoyed may begin to crumble before your eyes. It is in these moments that doubt creeps in, that frustration begins to take hold, and that questions arise. God, why is this happening? Why are these doors closing? Did I do something wrong? But what if I told you that those closed doors are not a sign of failure, but a sign of divine preparation? What if I told you that before God opens the windows of heaven and pours out a blessing too great for you to contain, He must first close every door that does not align with His perfect plan for your life? You see, God is not in the business of withholding good things from His children. He is a good Father who desires to bless you abundantly, but He also knows what is best for you, and sometimes that means shutting doors that you would have walked through, doors that might have led you away from the very thing He has prepared for you. It can be painful watching opportunities slip away. It can feel discouraging when you knock and knock only to find that no one answers. But I have learned that when God closes a door, it is always for a reason. He is not punishing you, He is protecting you. He is redirecting you to something greater, something you may not yet see, but something that will one day make perfect sense. The doors that shut in your face are often the very things that push you toward the open doors God has prepared for you. Think of Joseph. He had dreams of greatness, dreams of ruling, dreams of purpose, and yet, before he ever stepped into that promise, doors slammed shut in his life. He was thrown into a pit by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused and imprisoned for years. Every door he walked through seemed to lead to another dead end. But what Joseph did not see in those moments was that every closed door was positioning him for something greater. If he had never been sold into slavery, he would never have ended up in Potiphar's house. If he had never been falsely accused, he would never have been in prison. And if he had never been in prison, he would never have met the cupbearer who would one day introduce him to Pharaoh. One closed door after another, but all of it was leading him to his destiny, the palace. The same is true for you. You may be looking at your life right now, feeling as though everything is shutting down around you, but I want you to know that God is not finished. He is preparing you. He is setting you up for something far greater than you could have planned for yourself. You may not understand it now, but one day you will look back and see that every no was actually a blessing in disguise. Every closed door was God's way of moving you into position for the breakthrough He had in store. When doors close, it is easy to fall into disappointment. It is tempting to question God's plan and to wonder if He has forgotten about you. But let me remind you that sometimes the doors that close are actually God's way of answering your prayers. You may have been asking for His will, and the first step in revealing that will is removing everything that does not belong. You may have been asking for elevation, and in order to lift you higher, He must first strip away the things that would have held you back. Closed doors are not the end of your story. They are merely a redirection, a sign that God has something better in store. The job you lost, the relationship that ended, the opportunity that didn't work out. What if those things had stayed in your life? What if you had walked through those doors only to find yourself trapped in a place that was never meant for you? God sees what you cannot see. He knows what is ahead, and he loves you too much to let you settle for anything less than his best. Sometimes closed doors are a test of faith. They challenge us to trust God even when we do not understand. They stretch our patience and strengthen our dependence on him. If everything always worked out exactly as we planned, we would never learn to lean on him. But it is in the waiting, in the uncertainty that we grow. It is in those moments that our faith is refined, that our character is strengthened, and that we learn to say, God, I trust you, even when I don't understand. And here is the promise. You will not always be in a season of closed doors. At the right time, in the perfect season, God will open doors that no man can shut, and when he does, you will see why the others had to close. You will walk into rooms you never could have entered on your own. You will step into opportunities that exceed anything you ever imagined. And when that moment comes, you will know it was God all along. He was guiding you, leading you, preparing you for something far greater than you could have ever planned. So if you are facing closed doors right now, do not be discouraged. Do not lose heart. Trust that God is working behind the scenes, aligning things in your favor. What may seem like rejection today is actually redirection. What may feel like loss is actually making room for something greater. Hold on, keep trusting, and watch as God turns every closed door into an open heaven. When God is preparing to bless you with something big, when he is about to elevate you to a new level, one of the clearest signs is that the enemy will intensify his attacks against you. You will begin to experience spiritual warfare like never before. It may come in the form of unexpected challenges, conflicts, setbacks, or even an overwhelming sense of discouragement. It is as if everything in your life starts to go wrong all at once, and you begin to wonder why. The very things that once flowed smoothly may suddenly seem difficult, and you might even feel like you are fighting a battle on multiple fronts. But hear me today. This is not a sign that you are on the wrong path. No, this is confirmation that you are stepping into something great. The enemy does not attack those who are stagnant. He does not waste his time on those who pose no threat. He comes after those who are on the verge of a breakthrough. It is no accident that the greatest trials often come right before the greatest blessings. The enemy sees what is ahead even before you do. He knows that if you continue on this path, if you keep pressing forward, you are about to step into a destiny so powerful that it will bring glory to God and impact countless lives. And because of that, he fights with everything he has. He wants to wear you down, make you doubt, and tempt you to give up just before you reach the promise. But let me tell you, if the warfare has increased in your life, if the pressure has intensified, it is a sign that you are closer than you think. Look at Jesus. Before he began his public ministry, before he performed his first miracle, he was led into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. For 40 days he was tested, attacked, and challenged by the enemy. Why? Because the enemy knew that once Jesus stepped into his calling, once he began to preach the kingdom of God, heal the sick, and set captives free, his dominion would be threatened. The attacks came before the breakthrough, and the same is true for you. The moment you start stepping into your God-given assignment, the enemy will try to stop you. Spiritual warfare is not just about external battles. It is also about the battle in your mind. The enemy will try to plant seeds of doubt, making you question whether you are really called, whether you are good enough, whether you even have what it takes. He will remind you of your past, your failures, your shortcomings, trying to convince you that you are not worthy of what God is about to do in your life. But listen to me. If God has called you, he has already qualified you. The enemy's lies are just a desperate attempt to make you step back when God is calling you to step forward. When David was anointed to be king, he did not immediately sit on the throne. Instead, he faced one of the most intense battles of his life. Saul, the very man he once served, turned against him and sought to kill him. David found himself running, hiding, and fighting for survival. Can you imagine the thoughts that must have gone through his mind? God, didn't you anoint me? Didn't you call me to be king? Then why am I being hunted like an enemy? But what David did not realize in the moment was that this battle was part of the process. God was preparing him, strengthening him, and refining his character for the position he was destined to step into. The enemy will always try to fight what he cannot stop. If you are going through a season of spiritual warfare, know that it is not because God has abandoned you. It is because you are on the verge of something significant. The attacks are not a sign that you are losing. They are a sign that you are winning. The enemy only attacks those who are carrying something valuable. He only fights against those who are a threat to his kingdom. And if you are experiencing intense warfare, it is because there is a calling on your life that the enemy fears. One of the greatest mistakes people make during times of spiritual warfare is retreating. They allow the pressure to push them backward instead of using it as fuel to move forward. But I want to challenge you today. Do not back down. Do not let the enemy intimidate you. Stand firm in your faith, knowing that the battle is not yours, but the Lord's. The very thing the enemy is using to try to break you is the thing God will use to build you. The hardship, the struggle, the attacks, they are all preparing you for what is coming. And let me tell you something else. The enemy is not all-powerful. He is not in control. He can throw his attacks, but he cannot stop God's plan for your life. He can try to delay it, but he cannot cancel it. Every attack he launches against you will only serve to make you stronger if you refuse to give up. So if you are in a season where it feels like all hell is breaking loose, take heart. You are not alone. You are not abandoned. You are simply in the middle of a battle that proves your breakthrough is near. Keep your eyes on God. Keep pressing forward. Because when the warfare intensifies, it is a sure sign that something big is on the horizon. The enemy would not be fighting you this hard if you were not about to step into something greater than you ever imagined. When God is about to give you something big, one of the clearest signs is that he will begin to remove people from your life. It will not always be dramatic. Sometimes people will quietly fade away. Relationships that once seemed strong will start to weaken. People you thought would be with you forever may suddenly become distant. It is a painful process, one that often leaves you confused and asking, God, why? But hear me today. When God is preparing to bless you, he also prepares your surroundings. Not everyone who started with you is meant to finish with you. Not everyone who was part of your past is destined to be part of your future. And sometimes, God must remove certain people in order to make room for what he is about to do. We become so attached to relationships that we do not realize when they have served their purpose. We hold on to friendships, partnerships, and even family connections that may have been necessary in one season, but are no longer aligned with where God is taking us. It is not always about people being bad. Sometimes, it is simply about them not being right for your next level. When God begins to elevate you, he will also begin to separate you. He knows what you need and what will hinder you. And if he is removing someone from your life, it is because he sees what you cannot see. Look at Abraham. When God called him to go to a land that he would show him, he told him to leave everything behind. His country, his relatives, his father's household. But Abraham took Lot with him. Lot was family, someone he loved, someone he probably could not imagine leaving behind. But what happened? As they journeyed together, conflict arose between their herdsmen, and it became clear that they could not stay together. They had to separate. And only after Abraham parted ways with Lot did God reveal the fullness of his promise to him. The separation was necessary for the blessing to manifest. Some of you are wondering why certain friendships are changing, why people who once supported you are now silent, why certain relationships feel strained. It is not by accident. It is divine alignment. You cannot carry everyone into the place where God is taking you. Some people are only meant to walk with you for a season, and when their time is up, God will orchestrate their exit, and if you try to hold on to them, you may end up delaying the very thing God is trying to bring into your life. One of the hardest things to accept is that some people are not meant to go with you into your next season. It is especially difficult when you love them, when you have history with them, when they have been part of your journey for so long. But let me tell you something. If their presence in your life is going to hinder what God is about to do, he will not hesitate to remove them. And it is not always because they are bad people. Sometimes, it is simply because they are not equipped for where God is leading you. Look at Jesus. When he was preparing for the most significant moment of his earthly ministry, the crucifixion, he did not take all 12 disciples with him to the Garden of Gethsemane. He only took Peter, James, and John. And even then, when the moment of intense prayer came, he separated himself even further. He knew that not everyone could handle what he was about to go through. He knew that some battles are meant to be faced alone, and when the time came for him to be arrested, even those who were closest to him fled. If Jesus experienced separation, why do we think we will be exempt from it? If Jesus had to go through a process where certain people could no longer walk with him, why do we fight so hard to hold on to relationships that God is trying to remove? Some of the people you are losing right now were never meant to stay. And instead of mourning their departure, you need to thank God for the divine pruning, because the people who are meant to be in your life will not leave. The ones who are assigned to your destiny will stay. But those who are not, God is clearing them out for a reason. It is painful when people walk away. It hurts when someone you thought would always be there suddenly disappears. But do not let the pain blind you to the purpose. When God removes someone, it is always for your good. He is making space. He is aligning you with those who are truly meant to walk with you into your next season. And if you try to hold on to the wrong people, you may end up missing the right ones. So if you are in a season where relationships are shifting, where people are leaving, where things feel uncertain, do not be discouraged. This is a sign that God is moving. It is a sign that He is preparing you for something greater. Let go of what needs to go. Trust that He knows what He is doing. Because when He starts removing people, it is only a matter of time before He starts replacing them with the right ones. You are on the verge of something big, and when it comes, you will see that every loss was actually a gain, every removal was actually a setup, and every goodbye was making room for something greater than you ever imagined.